So let's talk about something that I think is on a lot of our minds. What is our growing reliance on AI actually doing to our brains? We're going to dig in and find out.
You've probably seen the headlines. Some new research puts it, well, pretty bluntly, basically saying that AI is making us dumb. It's a really provocative claim, right? And it feels both a little alarming and maybe a little too real.
But is it really true? Is using something like ChatGPT actually making our brains weaker? That's the big question we're going to try and answer in this explainer. Okay, first things first, we have to understand the sheer scale of what we're talking about here. AI isn't some little niche tech anymore. For millions and millions of us, it's becoming a daily partner in how we think. Just look at this number. We're talking about 700 million people using ChatGPT every single week. This isn't just a trend. It's a massive global shift in how we work, how we create, and how we solve problems.
So to really get what AI might be doing to us, we need a quick lesson in how our brains actually learn things in the first place. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like building a highway.
See, here's the thing a lot of people get wrong. Learning isn't about growing more brain cells. It's all about making the connections, the pathways between the cells you already have stronger. Think of your brain like a dense forest. To get from point A to point B, you gotta clear a path.
Let's make this super simple with an everyday example. You're at the grocery store. How do you pick a good avocado? It seems totally automatic, but your brain is doing some serious work behind the scenes. So you might not realize it, but there's a whole symphony playing in your head. First, your occipital cortex sees the pile of avocados. Then, your temporal lobe kicks in to judge the color and the texture. And finally, that signal zips over to your prefrontal cortex, kind of like the CEO of your brain, which pulls up memories of all the bad avocados you've had before and makes the final call. Boom, a path has just been cleared in the forest. And every single time you pick an avocado, that little path gets a bit clearer, a bit wider, a bit faster. Do it enough times, and that simple dirt path turns into a paved, multi-lane superhighway in your brain. That's literally how you master any skill. Okay, so if our brain builds highways by doing things, what happens when we outsource the construction job to an AI like ChatGPT? Well, a team at MIT decided to run an experiment to find out exactly that. So here's the setup. They got 54 people and gave them a task: write 3 short essays. And the whole time they were hooked up to these EEG headsets, which can actually measure the electrical activity, those pathways we were just talking about, firing in their brains. Now, here's the crucial part. The participants were split into 3 different groups. Group 1 had to rely on just their own brain. Group 2 could use Google to look things up. And Group 3, they got to use a large language model like ChatGPT. And this is where it gets really interesting. And the results? Well, they were pretty shocking. For the group that was using AI, the researchers saw what you could only describe as a massive cognitive drain. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the brain-only folks. You see all those bright, strong connections? Those are the highways. That's the brain connecting visual and memory areas to planning centers. They're actively generating and organizing ideas from scratch. Now, look at the right, the LLM group. It's quiet. The pathways are faint, almost non-existent. Their brains weren't really building ideas. They were mostly just supervising the AI and formatting its output. And if you want a number to put on it, here it is, a 55% drop. That's a massive reduction in brain connectivity compared to the brain-only group. They weren't just thinking differently. They were literally thinking less. The brain just wasn't building any highways. And this leads us to this really weird paradox, right? Because while the science seems to be showing this cognitive drop-off, the professional world is screaming the exact opposite. Microsoft is telling employees that AI is no longer optional. The CEO of Axel Springer actually said that now you have to justify not using AI. So what are we supposed to do? Well, this is where the study gives us a little bit of hope. It turns out, in an optional 4th session, the researchers found a kind of loophole, a smarter way to use AI without letting our brains turn off. So in this final session, they flipped the script. They took the AI away from the LLM group and made them use just their brains. And they struggled. Their brain activity looked like a beginner's because they hadn't built any highways. But then they gave the AI to the brain-only group, the ones who had already done the hard work of building the highways. And their performance, it soared. Their essays were graded way higher. And this is the big aha moments. It shows that the people who first did the hard mental work,
the ones who built their own highways, were then able to use AI as an unbelievably powerful co-pilot, not as a crutch. It was enhancing their thinking, not replacing it. And this isn't just about writing essays. Check out this other study with doctors using an AI to spot tumors. Of course, with the AI, their detection rate went up. But here's the scary part. When they took the AI tool away, the doctor's own skills had gotten worse. Their detection rate actually dropped below where they started. That mental highway for detection had started to decay because they weren't using it. So really, all of this research seems to boil down to one key idea. These AI models can be absolutely amazing, but only if we stay in the driver's seat and use them as tools to make our own thinking better, not as a total replacement for it.
Which leaves a pretty big question for all of us, doesn't it? As this technology gets woven into everything we do, we're faced with a choice, task by task. Are we going to do the work to build and maintain our own mental highways? Or are we going to let them get overgrown by always taking the AI shortcut?